I think we should talk about this. Here's the thing, I want to do this differently. You know how like most people when they do bike reviews are sort of riding slowly, happily around some country lane and talking happily to the camera? But this review, well, this is going to be very different. So Nationals prep continues. You're not doing it with bacon. And I'm going to attempt to talk to you guys a bit about this bike during it. Now people love Bianchis. Bianchi? Actually, Junior, you'll know.
I work at the store that's sorting all of these bikes out, and you've got many sort of lifetime Bianchi members. People that buy one and they never buy a different brand ever again. More and more Celeste creeps into their life, and it's going to take over like you would not believe.
I'm probably not fully that person. It's a bit like this. I like Star Wars, but I'm not queuing up. We'll watch it 2 or 3 weeks down the track. That's kind of my level of Star Wars fandom. It's probably similar with the Bianchi. I do remember when I first started getting into road biking in Ireland, seeing that Celeste green bike and thinking, wow. And that clearly then is something that you can't explain. Maybe that is going to sort of brush over a few things. I don't know. Does it really matter? I don't know either, but I will try and be as succinct as possible and sort of black and white as possible when it comes to actually reviewing it.
All right, Millhouse. Okay. Thoughts on the new whip?
First off, guys, aesthetically, the bike is just beautiful. I mean, it's very different to the Ridley. The Ridley really just came at you, like that aggressive aero bike type thing. This is a very different look. Bike looks beautiful. That's, you know, whatever. You know that, right? We need to talk performance. I'm not talking about the group set. I'm not talking about any of the components. I want to keep this as much about the frame, the bike as possible. I'll review those. First thing, without a doubt, is the stiffness. Junior's on the Ridley, and they're awesome bikes, but Jesus Christ, they're stiff. Maybe they're stiff, or this thing is just a lot more compliant, because I used to be bracing for things all the time. Not bracing for them anymore. Is that countervail? I don't know. Is that NASA suddenly creating some incredible substance to soak up bumps over the Anzac Bridge? Again, I don't know. All I can tell you is that that is actually the case on the road. Descending, and that's where it really helps, descending. I can really feel that whippiness is kind of gone. It's a little bit more solid. Again, like a lot of this comfort stuff, I seriously reckon comes down to your contact points, tyres, bars, just your general comfort saddle, that kind of thing. Now, I do want to say this. I realise that saying the Bianchi is comfortable almost kind of buys into the stereotype of it here. Let's be brutally honest, it's one of the main reasons that Atelier wanted to get us on board with the Bianchis is to show that this bike is not just it's a really nice comfortable Sunday around the traps bike. It's a friggin' race bike. Great example. What I mean is, I seem to be able to hold a far more aggressive position for a lot longer, not getting smashed about anywhere near as much. Oh, it must be the Specialissma. Sorry, guys. Yeah, apologies. Because I've had 2 experiences so far. Racing this bike kind of leads me to come up with a few conclusions about it. One, a lot of guys in Sydney will know these sort of things, right? There's always a point, like in a Heffron race. I know we go on about Heffron, but anyway, it's a great place to test a bike in a crit race. So you're coming down the straight, and let's say you're full gas down the straight, and you have been. So you're boxed by the end of the straight. And at the end of the straight, there's a right-hander. It's not a hard corner, it's a very fast corner. But it's it's got some rough runs to it. And a lot of the time you can't pick your line through it. So you just take what you can get. So couple that with the fact that you're normally pretty boxed when you're hitting the end of it. Like you've been on a real hard 1-minute effort by the time you hit it. And what can happen on a performance bike, I've found, is when you're going over and around that corner, you're pedaling through it, you're still putting power out, is your rear wheel will jump all over the place. So will the wind. I have not found that on this bike. It does seem as though whatever's going on, I seem to be able to keep the power down as you go round the corner without actually losing traction. Clearly the strength of this bike is going uphill, and I was really interested to test that. I'm not so much talking here about like a sustained uphill effort, because I'm kind of the opinion that if you can put a lot of power out for a certain amount of time, it doesn't really matter. You're eventually just going to go really fast up a climb. Like things like West Head, those perfect sort of 1-2 minute climbs.
Looks like it's Miller. Miller in first wheel, Coyle in second.
There's something about this bike that instead of getting up to speed and holding speed, this thing seemed to just react much quicker. Yeah, look, some of that is probably just due to the fact that it's a slightly lighter frame. Geometry, that it gives you almost more of an incentive to go harder for those shorter efforts. Maybe you're getting a little bit more bang for your buck.
It's just been too hot to actually try and even do efforts and then pull the camera out and talk to you guys. What I want to get across is just how compliant and steady this bike is. I don't want to use the word comfortable because that implies that it's not racy. It is racy. It's just too hot.
When it's this hot, you just can't get the intensity, can't get the power out. You end up just sweating buckets and getting heat stroke. So it's just not worth it. It's best just to clock the Ks over, keep the intensity lower, and then save your efforts for days when it's not so hot. Your power will be down because it's so hot, and you'll probably end up getting heat stroke if you really push it. If you've been training in the heat for weeks, it's fine. But we've pretty much come straight out of winter, and we haven't been doing much riding in the heat, so it's just going to push our bodies too hard.
Super backlit. This time last year, some of those early vlogs, like it was pretty much all just about the chaos of getting all the gear ready for nationals. Really exciting news. The Ridleys have flown out. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm really starting it out, and I was doing a heap of it just because, you know, there was only 5 or 6 of us and someone had to do it. This year, look, there's way more going on because we've obviously got way more riders, a few more people helping us, which is amazing. Kind of also realised that the mad stress of trying to get things for nationals doesn't necessarily pay off. That said, the fact is you still need help, and oh my god, you still need a heap of help. Running up, he's like, behind the scenes stuff to what actually goes on. So here's the thing, right? Perfect segue. Matt just did a segue for me, right? So here's a pile of bikes. Now last year I was running around madly all around Sydney trying to put this together, but for like 6 people. Now we have 24? We've got 24 people. I'm not doing that. So we need help. And we got people to help us, and really good people to help us. So now they're going to do the building. Yeah, thank God it's their problem, not ours. Unboxing is big on YouTube, we are told. So what we thought we'd do is an unboxing of his bike. How does this work? Oh, inside we have a box inside a box. Inside the box, we present to you. Oh well. That's very hard. Sorry, I just ripped your bike off. Yeah. See this. Not BB30. A little bit of an impromptu unboxing. It was a bit crap. New bikes are in, they look sick. So we'll call that part 1 of the review.
Just been too hot.
I'm really keen to make this distinction between comfort, implying that it's not a race bike. That's not what I wanted to get across in that little part. Obviously, the next part of this review, I'll incorporate some of the guys and they'll be able to talk about the XR4s. And just before we go, shout out to the guys doing the Shimano Supercrit this weekend. We have a NERO team there. We actually have a group of NERO riders down in Victoria now next year. Well, really from this weekend on. So you'll see loads more of that jersey and those guys, and Al's in charge of it. He's basically half pissed at this stage because he's a legend. And so they'll be at the Super Creep this weekend. Check them out, say good day to them. I'm not going to be there, but lastly finish by saying a 3-year-old daughter did that.